Hi there, Ale. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, I'm so honored to be here. I'm like so excited to talk to you, and I've been seeing all the wonderful things you've been doing online, and yeah, really, really honored. So thank you for having me here.
I'm so glad and I'm so honored as well because I really have been wanting to engage at a deeper level. And I think that this podcast will really give us the chance to talk properly. And I'm just so glad that we could find a mutual time and you took out the time. So that's great. So, how are you doing? How have the past few months been for you personally and professionally? Like, how's it going?
It's going really, really well. I think lockdown and COVID just generally was a really eye-opening experience for a lot of us, and just kind of shed a different perspective on life and kind of prioritizing things and realizing what's really important to us, you know.
Yeah.
I think at the end, I mean, for me personally, I realized how important family was, and just kind of doing the things that really matter to you, you know.
Definitely.
Uh, and I think professionally it was really good because I'm in, as you know, I'm in health and wellness, right? And it was a difficult time for so many people, and actually being able to help people kind of get out of this negativity and deal with their anxiety, because I mean we were all so anxious with all
Yeah.
this uncertainty going on around us, right? So really, really helping people get out of that negative space, and obviously get back on track with their eating habits,
Yeah.
and motivating them to keep fit and healthy. So for me professionally, to be honest, it's been a pretty good time.
That's great to hear because you're right. Like it, things did take a turn in the sense that people became way more focused on themselves for the first time in a long time on such a mass level. And I think that in some ways, maybe this turn was also necessary for us to, reorient ourselves and ask ourselves what we truly want and how we view ourselves in our lives and the people in our lives. So yeah, you're totally right about that. But I want to ask you, how did
Yeah.
you decide to get into this line of work? Was there, like, did you have a eureka moment, or did you always know that this is something that you wanted to do?
Okay, like imagine what I am now and like completely the opposite, okay? Like it's really crazy because everyone who knows me from like 4 years ago, like, ye kaun hai bhai? Like, ye kya hai? Like literally. It's like a whole other person involved. And it's really interesting because I don't know if you know, but I used to work for L'Oreal. I love L'Oreal, by the way, in Pakistan. And I was workaholic, completely myopic. Success equals good career, you know. I used to no sleep, work, eat at your desk, you know. I was one of those, right? And addicted to junk food, very little sleep, you know, constantly addicted to just tick, 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 tick in
Okay.
terms of
Wow.
achievement in my career, right? And I think I kind of just I kind of blocked out investing in good relationships, investing in self-care. And as I said, it was very
Yeah.
lingered. But then it, it takes a toll, you know, when you are so focused on just one thing and neglect other areas in your life. And it kind of all came crashing down on me. So in terms of my health, I had liver failure. I was an insomniac, and liver failure due to major stress.
Were you able to
Uh,
on it and reverse it? Hopefully,
yes, I had to be on bed rest. I had several bouts of like gastroenteritis. So I was addicted to junk food. So my energy levels and my stamina were, I mean, they were limited, and I suffered a lot from a lot of ups and downs, you know. Um, and I think that even the thought of taking the stairs up to my office, the thought of it was exhausting. Okay. someone very, very different. And it's crazy because I think after moving back to London, I'm from London, born and brought up here, moving back, and I quit my job, I moved back to be with my boyfriend, now husband. And I think I had, and then I started working for L'Oreal here, but then I quit my job because I hated it. But I think like when you take some time out to reflect, and I think that's what COVID really gave us, like time out to really go inside and reflect. And I started realizing, gosh, life isn't just about like, ticking boxes, and your career isn't linked to your self-worth. Because that, in my mind, that's what it was, right?
I agree. And reach, but I think once you get there, it really rings true.
Yeah. So when I felt like, a little hamster on a wheel, because I had no time like to really think about things, and I had time, and I started to reflect on, like, gosh, I'm X amount years old, but my body looks way older than it actually is, and I feel like absolute rubbish. And why can I not sleep properly? Why do I have all this anxiety? And then I looked at my boyfriend, and he is there, like, six pack, managing his work, killing it, like going to the gym, like eating clean. And I was like, you're in a better place than I am, and I want to get to where you are, So slowly, I started trying different things, and I started going to the gym.
Hated it at first. It feels unnatural at first.
It feels like treadmill ke upar, just running. What the hell to do, man? I mean, like, it's just like, it's so boring, right? And it's sorry machines, so intimidating,
And so claustrophobic.
Exactly. And then who doesn't like cookies and ice cream and all of that stuff?
Sure.
So I found it really, really difficult. मैं try करती थी, ऊपर जाती बहुत, like, just एक हफ्ते, 2 हफ्ते के लिए, फिर nothing. फिर again I used to try, फिर nothing. ये जो yo-yo वाली, जो up and down वाली cycle, super unhealthy, And I said, and then I went and I started counting calories. Then I thought, oh my God. So पूरा like एक trial error होता है ना? So I did that, and I realized that none of this was sustainable. I couldn't keep anything up.
Yeah.
And then I kind of said, okay, this isn't working. So I took a step back and I said, okay, what are the small changes that I can make, right? So I started doing small things like increasing my water intake.
Yeah.
I started...
Such a basic thing, but it changes everything.
Everything, Then I started kind of swapping out like sugary things for more healthier alternatives. Like, I just tried, maybe instead of like a chocolate bar, I'd go for like maybe dark chocolate, like 70%, dark chocolate. Or like, even if you have like substitute something sugary with like a piece of fruit. I just tried these small things, like sometimes here and there. And then slowly, I also got a personal trainer. I started working out with a personal trainer. I'm going back to basics, So went through this whole journey, and I realized that it was built up of small changes. After like several months, I was in a very different space.
Yeah.
And I realized that it's small things that lead to a big difference.
Definitely.
And all through this time, I documented my journey on Instagram, and people really responded to this idea that being healthy doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah.
And I also found that when I started saying like, I can't have this, you wanted more, right?
Exactly.
So this kind of restrictive mentality just doesn't work. And when you feel comfortable enough to enjoy your treats once in a while in moderation, and have a better relationship with food, there's no good or bad food, there's nutrient dense food and less nutrient dense food, right?
Definitely.
So rewriting the narrative was really important, and started documenting my journey on Instagram, got more and more into sort of developing long-term lifestyle changes. And then I decided to formalize this kind of passion that I had for making healthy easy by training as a holistic health coach from an institute called IIN based in New York.
Okay.
And I graduated in March, and I've uh, just been helping South Asian women to be like the happiest and healthiest versions of themselves by looking at health as not looking at one cylinder of health, not just looking at what's on your plate and squeezing in a workout.
I know that we've discussed this before privately, but I just want our audience to also know
Yeah.
the different aspects of health that you look at. So if you could just, tell us a little bit about that as well.
Yeah, of course. So, Sheherzade, health to me is self-care, is self-respect, right? And really what I do, I look at how different aspects such as your relationships, your career, your physical activity, spirituality are all connected. So it's really intertwining the physical bit, the emotional bit, all together, and what's on your plate all together, and connecting the dots and really seeing the whole picture versus one cylinder, right?
And I think that
And
yes,
yes,
look at health. And I don't know, I just wonder why traditionally we don't look at it that way. Why do you think that is so? Like, do you think that it's big corporations not wanting us to know the truth, or do you think it's just something that we're missing out on? Why do you think that we don't view health holistically in the mainstream like that?
because I think we go to, like, when we think of health, like we immediately think of like a doctor, right? And we go to the doctor, we don't think of other experts in the wellness field. And when you go to a doctor, look, my husband's a doctor, and I know from a lot of his training, it's almost like prescribing a band-aid,
Yeah.
on, like, let's say somebody comes, a patient has blood pressure issues, they'll prescribe them a pill, not pin, a pill. um, and somebody who's depressed, chalo, let's give you some pills, antidepressants, right? However, and that's traditionally how we associate our health. And we've had a very reactive approach. Only when something goes wrong, here hum kuch karte hain, right?
Do we wait for the
Magar,
power?
yeah, we wait for it. We don't have preventative measures. But my point is, I think what's really interesting and what more and more certainly research has shown is that we need to take into lifestyle factors. So if somebody is suffering from like blood pressure issues, it could be something even related to their relationships, maybe some resentment that they're holding on from, like, I don't know, ex-husband or something. That comes through, something like monitoring the quality and amount of sleep that you get could definitely affect your depression levels. And the solution is not pills.
Yeah.
It's fixing your lifestyle habits. And I think
And I feel like pills and medication should be the last resort when it's humanly impossible for you to fix something else. And it's sad because we view it as the first step because we're programmed to think of it as
Exactly. And I think also, so that's one aspect of it. And to answer, so another component, I think, is the media. The media has really brainwashed to think that, your the physicality, the health is really embodied through the physical side, having just the perfect body, or eating super clean foods. I mean, it's just nutrition and movement that they're emphasizing on. Mental health, especially in a place like Pakistan, is really is not given as much importance. And I think it's when I coach my clients, the first thing we kind of talk about is what's up here.
yeah.
Changing the mindset and rewriting the narrative. You can go and give someone a meal plan giving them the best meal plan. You can book personal training sessions. That's all good. But if you don't have the right mindset here, you don't have the can-do attitude, you don't have the I love myself, but at the same time, I'm working on improving myself. I'm worthy.
Exactly.
You're never gonna be happy.
Because it's
And
true.
at the end of the day, yeah,
We attract what we not what we desire, you know. So our mindset is what we end up getting in return from the world. So it's really good that you really get to the root of what's going
yes,
on. And
yes.
I think that's we need more people like you. And I'm so glad that you are working on reaching a lot of people and connecting with them in your own way. And I think that you're doing a service, honestly. And so I want to ask you something. So, in Pakistan, how we have a lot of desi ways of doing things, like if if you're having some digestive issues, have a kava, have a green tea. But I feel like these kinds of desi todkas are very underrated because they are organic. You know what I mean? And how do you kind of factor in organic products, or these kinds of things, these kind of desi totkas, do you, or how do you incorporate them into what you practice and the coaching you give to your clients? So I would like to know a little bit about that.
So I think with coaching, it's very much driven by the client, right? It's what kind of method or what works best as a bio individual, because everybody is different. I could deal with someone who doesn't even believe in this stuff. And if you don't believe in it, then I can't force it upon you.
Yeah.
So it really is down to the individual and what works best for their body, because their blood type, their DNA, their stress factors, that everything is different to every other human on this earth, right? So it really is on that sort of, as I say, bio individual level. However, I mean, our bodies are like biocomputers. Given half a chance, it will recover by itself.
Yeah.
So I definitely encourage my clients to take a more sort of natural approach. But I think, yeah, to be honest, like it's so individual. But personally, I encourage my clients to, even when it comes to like skincare, because I help them with anything and everything, right? Pretty much when it comes to their wellness, their skincare, their digestion, their in terms of, I don't know, everything. Even if they're feeling a bit off or ill, I don't really encourage going down the whole chemicals and medical kind of route. You know what I mean? So I would just say it's more of a natural approach.
Yeah.
And really listening and tuning in to their body and what their body needs.
Okay.
Having said that, I'm not a doctor or anything, so I can't even properly prescribe anything, but I always encourage people to choose a way of life and use things that are in their natural form.
Definitely. So I really appreciate that. And I want to ask you, so on your page, like we're always seeing you love working out, and
Yeah.
work out quite frequently. So what are your go-to kind of workouts? Like what style do you prefer? What works for you? What do you enjoy?
Gosh, you know what? Like, it really depends on my mood.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, like working out is something that I saw a lot of the time, the motivating myself, it can be quite hard, but then I just think of how I feel at the end, and how much also mentally I benefit. So for me, that keeps me going. It's just like the endorphins that I get afterwards and the clarity and focus I get. So that keeps me going. But in terms of what I do, I always think about what will I enjoy?
Yeah.
So my workouts really depend on my mood, because if I'm not enjoying it, I won't do it. Like if you tell me if I really feel like doing upper body and lifting some weights or whatever, I won't want to do, like, let's say an ab workout, you know? So it really depends on my mood. But if you ask me what gets me going, and I really enjoy, I do enjoy incline walks, because it's one of those things that you get on the treadmill and you do an incline walk. And I know that it's really effective in terms of muscle toning and burning calories, like, versus walking on a flat surface. So I know whatever effort I'm putting in, I'm getting maximum output. And often I think that we barely have time, right? So
Yeah.
we want minimal effort, maximum output, and incline walking. And I have made myself a lovely playlist on Spotify. So I get in the mood, and I'm like imagining myself dancing to all these like songs and the music videos.
Yeah.
I like that. I like incline walking, and I love what else do I love? Really depends. A good solid weight session when I've slept well. You
Yeah.
know, good solid weight session. It could be working my glutes
Yeah.
and yeah, my hamstrings. It's a good like weightlifting gets me going if I've slept well.
Yeah.
And then, you know what I really do like though is these home workouts. Also during COVID, I looked up a few sort of influencers or fitness experts, and they have these workout videos that are quite fun, you know, because I get bored quite quickly. So, and I think a lot of people do, right? So, for example, I love the one by, there's this influencer called Chloe Ting.
Oh my
So,
God,
Chloe,
I love Chloe
is
Tate.
so good, right? Because I'm just
So,
like, variation
yeah,
is good.
it gets your heart rate increased, and then you
Yeah,
pair it up with resistance bands and weights. So there's so much room for variation. And
exactly.
with Chloe Ting, I found that she had made this server, like this online chatting platform for all of
Yeah,
doing her workouts, and it was just so nice to be able to talk to people and exchange notes and kind of build this it builds a whole community.
community
Yeah,
and
so
supporting each other. Yeah,
that's
100%.
what I really like.
Yeah.
There's also this other blogger. She goes by the name of Blogilates. So
Oh, yeah, 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 of course. Yeah, love
she
her.
does more like Pilates centric workouts as well. And I love her style as well because she's always coming up with these challenges and all these different things. And it really does keep you excited because at the end of the day, it's probably the same exercises switched around, but the combination is what, gives you a little something that's new. And
100%, 100%. What I also enjoy, like during lockdown, I did what I enjoyed is challenging myself. So, for example, I I do a combination of looking at the workout videos on YouTube, but then I also make my own workouts up, and I've set myself like one thing I do for I start with 1 minute. Like for example, I was doing with the resistant bands, I was holding it in a certain position and was working out my legs in an abductor position. And I said, okay, I'm going to start off with 1 minute. Then the next day I just increased it by 1 minute, by 1 minute, by 1 minute. So I ended up being able to hold the resistant band in a certain position for 20 minutes
oh
of,
wow,
yeah.
that's
So I really enjoy, because I think your confidence in yourself increases, and they're very little things, right? Even if it's like holding a plank, it's good to challenge yourself. Can I hold the plank 15 seconds longer? You
yeah.
know, and it just feeds into this whole concept of a Japanese concept of kaizen,
Okay.
which is building up a habit that you want, but by breaking it down into really small and short steps that are realistic.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, you should try it with anything, and you can apply it to anything that you want to achieve, right? You just break it down and you just do it for just for 1 minute longer or 30 seconds longer. It doesn't matter. But it's very, very powerful and very effective at achieving your goal.
I really like that because it allows you to keep challenging yourself and it allows you to, every time you do a certain thing, it allows you to go deeper and deeper into it. So, yeah,
Exactly.
I really like that.
Exactly.
Even for me, you know, training as a Pilates instructor also meant that my fitness journey cannot end for many reasons, and it has to keep going. And to train other people, you have to be so healthy yourself, for more reasons than just personal reasons. You need to do it
Yes. Yes.
as well.
Yes.
And sometimes it can tire you out, just like any other thing that you do. So challenging yourself with achievable goals is so necessary. And I really like the way that you worded that. It was really well put. um but coming to South Asian women, and like that is a group of women that is one of your focuses, not the only focus, but you do focus on South Asian women. So
Yes, I do.
um like, when you work with them or when you observe their habits, what kind of things do you come across, things that maybe across the board they're consistently maybe overlooking, or things that they could improve upon? So
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is the nutrition, because when you're living like a desi household, the amount of oil, for example, we all know itna tel, bahut zyada tel, like, and sometimes they don't have control over, the food, because it's made by by somebody else. So I think that is like the biggest thing that is a problem, and 80% is nutrition, only 20% is movement. um, as in, if to see results, usually the focus is on what you eat. So it's I think that, and then the other thing is, and this applies, I think, not only to South Asian women, but the world of health and wellness is so confusing, Sheherzade. It's like one person tells you carbs khao, dusri person tells you don't eat carbs. Then which oil is better? Is coconut oil better? Is olive oil better? Is sunflower oil better? Um, how dangerous is it? How should I be having milk? If no milk, then what kind of milk? And it's
so confusing, and I don't think it needs to be so confusing.
It really doesn't. And I think that is where things need to change, because the foundation of good health is really, to me, it's first of all doing what's best for you, not following a diet, which is a theory, because you are an individual. You cannot apply a generic theory like keto or whatever, Atkins, or whatever diet you're following to an individual.
Yeah.
Right? It just, in this day and age, we know better, right? So एक तो ये है, दूसरी चीज ये है, the foundation of good health across all studies is the transition from processed foods to unprocessed foods. Matlab, instead of having packaged goods with, chemicals and additives and preservatives that your brain doesn't even understand. Your brain doesn't understand it. Your stomach is not going to understand it, right? So transitioning into focusing on nutrient-dense whole foods like fruits and vegetables, and legumes and like nuts and, organic meats is a game changer. It really, really is, So that's number 2. Number 3 is hydration.
Hydrate.
You always have my follow. I know you do too. Cheers. It's really, I mean, our bodies, a majority of our body is made up of water. Water is life, literally. So recognizing that. Or फिर उसके बाद getting the right amount of sleep, because that is a key time where your body rests and repairs and recovers, and renews itself. So I think the thing is that we all know what to do, right? Okay, we have to eat more vegetables, we have to eat clean, cut out or have limited processed foods, get good amount of movement in. So we all know the basics.
We all know it.
We don't do it. We don't do it. Now, everybody can tell you, like, we really do know what the foundation is. So that is exactly where a health coach comes in, because I'm in the business of not information. I don't know everything, and I don't know the answer to everything. But what I do know is how to take that, the basis of good health, and get it into a transformation, get someone to actually do the action.
Yeah.
I'm in the business of transformation, not in the business of information.
Yeah.
So it's how to break it down and make it accessible and enjoyable for people, right? Taking into account their lifestyle, their likes, dislikes, and what works for them as an individual. So it's really going back to basics.
And that's definitely the way to do it, because especially in today's day and age, there's so much of an influx of information, and we can all see the right thing that we are supposed to do, but where we find ourselves confused and, facing these hurdles is when we don't know how to put that information and execute it through actions. And sometimes people do need a professional to come in and, kind of bridge the gap. So this brings me to another thing that I wanted to address. If you've had clients who have had PCOS or dealt with PCOS, I know that a lot of women, again, South Asian women do deal with PCOS, which is also because of the amount of chicken that people have in this country.
Yeah.
Everything is chicken, and chicken is injected with all the growth hormones that anybody could ever dream of. And mostly the eggs here are not organic as well. So then a lot of women develop these problems. So if you could kind of, give your own, weigh in into a situation such as a woman dealing with PCOS, what would you say to them, or what would you ask them to look into?
So I'm glad you mentioned this topic, because I know a lot of women suffer. In fact, 1 in 10 women suffer from PCOS. And I was actually myself, I was told I had PCOS, and I was actually told, like, you need to have kids basically ASAP. And I was also given like the birth control pill to deal with acne on my side. I had really bad acne. I said, and it's all to do with your hormones, right? It's all to do with irregularities in your hormones. It's to do with insulin. And the thing is, it's not completely 100% treatable, as in you can't cure PCOS, but there are certain things you can do to minimize certain symptoms that you might have, right? So the first thing I would say is choose foods that are free from artificial sugars, hormones, and preservatives. So again, go for whole foods, right? So you go for fruit, veg, whole grains, legumes, and really you want to regulate your blood sugar levels, something that's not going to spike your blood sugar levels, right? So avoid refined carbohydrates and focus more on high protein, because good sources of protein stimulate the body to produce insulin. And I would go for anti-inflammatory foods such as fatty fish, really important, leafy greens. I would say, the Mediterranean diet is very conducive to people who want to treat PCOS symptoms. Nuts are really good. Incorporating olive oil is really good. And I think also sometimes when women who lose a lot of blood, they can have very heavy periods and stuff. So look into increasing your iron levels, if that's something you're suffering from, through spinach, eggs, broccoli, foods like that. Regulating your sleeping patterns, getting at least 8 hours of sleep. Sometimes upping your magnesium levels can help, and you can get that through bananas. Almonds are really good. Spinach, cashew nuts are really good for that. What else?
So how are you able to, on a personal level?
Yes, I changed my diet. I changed my diet. So I was addicted to junk food. I had massive amounts of sugar. So there was a joke actually at the office. I was like the person who was obsessed. I was like the Kit Kat girl.
Oh,
Every day, Sheherzade, every day I had to have a Kit Kat. मतलब it just
oh,
3 बजे जो है मेरा, and people used to buy me Kit Kat at the office. They used to go down. They used to go to EPCO. EPCO. I used to work at, where was this? The Forum. I don't know if the Forum is even still open now. The shopping mall.
hmm.
And yeah, there's every day Kit Kat and Toblerone. I used to love Toblerone. The point is, I was just on another tangent when it came to just mm, eating really, really processed foods. And I think when I moved back to London and I started making these small changes with my movement and kind of getting into better positive space, and I started leaning towards more whole foods, it worked because I recently went for some tests, and I said, oh, like I've got PCOS and all this, and they said, actually, you don't have it's not there anymore. It's not there anymore. You have no issues. You have absolutely no issues. And
Wonderful.
I tell you that this.
Yeah,
So
you
what do you say?
did so well just with your diet and your
Yeah,
habits.
yeah. And the thing is, my PCOS wasn't that bad, as in it wasn't like crazy, but I was, it was there. And I did have like really bad acne, like especially in my early 20s. But it just goes to show that, you change your diet, and no one is saying you can't enjoy that. No one's saying you can't enjoy ice cream or cookies or whatever you want, but 20% of the time.
Yeah, definitely. And
Your outcome.
it just goes to show how smart our bodies are and how much we undermine the strength that the body has. It's technology in and of itself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It does have a
Absolutely.
self-correcting mechanism if we allow it to self-correct. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, look at smokers. If you stop smoking, your lungs will naturally recover. When we cut ourselves, what happens? It forms a scab and it completely heals.
Yeah.
That is the it that this the body baffles me. I mean, I'm just like, wow, wow.
Yeah,
It's mind blowing.
human
So
beings
give
are very
yourself the time.
yeah, human beings are very resilient creatures.
Yeah, they really, really are. They really, really are. And I think people need to understand that you are what you eat, literally. Like the food that we eat goes into to make cells that make up our organs that give us life, right? So what you put in your body is literally will reflect and will make, I mean, you are literally what you put inside your body. Like it can't be can't be more simple to understand than that,
Yeah, and
right?
biggest truths of life are actually so simply put, and they are available to us. We just don't understand them the way that we probably should. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and another thing that I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on was, so Instagram it's a great platform in terms of, connecting people and sharing ideas. It's a very open space. I'm not sure it's as inclusive as perhaps other platforms are, but it is definitely a space where a lot of people can share their voices. But it's also
Yes.
a place where we are kind of subliminally encouraged to be the best version of ourselves. And I feel like at many points in time, there is also this kind of hyper positivity going around, which is bordering on being kind of inauthentic, because we are not always the best version of ourselves. We may want to be, but it's Instagram is, to me, it's supposed to be, you're supposed to be picture perfect. So I
Yeah.
just want to know how you navigate that kind of terrain. Do you find it troublesome? What has your relationship with Instagram been on your
Mm.
journey?
You know, when I first started out, I was doing a bit of this, bit of that, and I really didn't know what direction my account would take, what really was my USP, what. And the more and more I went into this journey, I also got like, it just annoyed me to see like, especially when it came to health and fitness, like trying to achieve like the thigh gap, or these, you see these fitness models endorsing these brands, and all of them literally, I was like, at the start I was fascinated. I was absolutely fascinated. I was like, wow, this is an amazing body, this, that, whatever. But what's really, really interesting is that I've gone on this journey, and I'm like, what to me is good content, and what to me that people want to see more and more of is authenticity. And I know we use that word a lot, but I think the more and more you are yourself, the more sort of imperfectly perfect it is.
Hmm.
And I actually wanted, this is something I've really been wanting to do that I haven't, because I was supposed to go on holiday and my holiday got cancelled. I was actually planning to do this whole thing when I had bought some really cute like swimsuits. I wanted to take a picture of myself, and I wanted to show my cellulite, because that is something that 80% of women like have, and but we're made to feel that it's not normal, and we're
That
made
is
to feel inferior and inadequate. And I don't want women to feel like that. I don't want women to feel like it's not normal to have like hip dips. You know, we need to normalize normal bodies.
yeah.
Okay. And I really because it goes so, and this idea of like, actually I see, and also talking to clients, I feel like the biggest piece of work is self responsibility and self acceptance. You know,
Loving.
your confidence
Yeah.
is not linked to the freaking weighing scale. It's
Yeah.
not. You know, some people are just like, no, if I don't weigh a certain like amount, or I don't look a certain way, I don't have the confidence to pursue XYZ. I don't have the confidence to go out and do the things I want to do, right? So I really want to change that narrative. I don't think I'm doing enough. I want to do more. I don't think people are doing enough. Um, but certainly, I realized that the reason why I work out now is, yeah, of course, it's nice to have a toned figure, but it just has gone so, for me,
It's gone
it's
beyond that.
really transcended beyond that. It's really and I've learned to accept and love my body. Of course, there's always room for improvement, but I've accepted that, yes, I'm on this journey of self improvement,
Yeah.
but at the same time, I'm okay with having scars on my back. I'm okay with having a cellulite. I have cellulite, and I'm okay with it. I have stretch marks, but
Yeah.
I like to call them like tiger stripes, because my body has been through a lot, you know. And I think moreover, later on, when I become a mother, hopefully one day,
Yes.
um, I would like to. And I think that's going to be an even more interesting journey, because I think we need to normalize our bodies changing, and not just during pregnancy, you
Yeah.
know. And I think, and I then, you know, I really would be interesting to see my journey through that. But I think it's Instagram right now is still a highlights reel.
Hmm.
It's still a highlights reel. And I think things are changing in the wider community, but certainly when it comes to the like South Asian influencers, I think there's not enough
Yeah.
of.
The change is slow, but it needs to be at pace with the times, I guess. But I guess every region and every cultural context has its own constraints, I guess. And I hope we can. I mean, this is why I also started this whole podcast, was because I wanted to kind of transcend boundaries as well, and talk to people
Yeah,
who are also not, located in my country, because they also bring a completely new perspective as well. And I just feel like a lot of voices that should be heard are
yeah,
unfortunately really not amplified enough, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's why I really did want to just, get into this. And first, it was supposed to be like an in-person studio thing, but then with COVID, that was not an option. But it
Yeah.
worked well because now I'm able to actually, talk to people such as yourself. And this has been so
Yeah.
lovely. And thank you so much for being here. And
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
another question that I just always ask my guests just for fun, for laughs. Sometimes I get like a good or a serious response from them. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna ask you, what is the meaning of life?
Oh, what is the meaning of life? I love that question. I love it. Like suddenly we go deep. Ooh.
Yeah,
Um,
I like to go from 0 to 100.
I think for me, it would be um, happiness. It would be to be happy and fulfilled, and happy, and recognizing that happiness is not a destination. Happiness is a journey, and finding joy in the everyday through primarily through gratitude
Yeah.
and really putting things into perspective. Oh, look, my husband's so sweet. He just bought me a smoothie. Thanks, honey. Yeah. And that was kind of like a revelation for me, because I think COVID accentuated it even more, that really it's good health, like being able to maintain good health and finding fulfillment. And it could be in anything. And now it's like even the most menial tasks, like for example laundry, I quite enjoy that. I know that sounds crazy, but
No.
it's the ability, the meaning of life is finding joy and understanding that what you have is enough.
Yeah.
What you have is enough. And
Definitely.
being focusing on the present. You can't change the past. Future hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
Live for the now.
Because
Say yes, live for the now.
your life is always now, this is the present moment is all that there really ever is, because even your past was a present moment at, when it was happening. So just giving your all to the present. And I think gratitude is something that is just, it's so underrated. And if you practice it, it makes your life, like you said, it brings you this joy, it brings you this inner peace, and you can be so peaceful in any kind of situation, whether it's mundane or whether it's, the biggest achievement or success of your life. You will feel the same amount of joy. And I think that's when you know that you're you found that place within yourself, I guess. So
Exactly. And it's, I mean, we're all on this journey. We're all improving, and I mean, it's constantly changing, right? But I think, um, like for me personally, is just realizing what's important to me. And that also, I think the meaning of life is from trying to make others' lives more beautiful. Like for me, that's my purpose.
adding value to people's lives.
Yes, because if I consider myself in a luxurious position because uh, I have good health, I have a roof over my head, and I have good food to eat, and I have a loving family. Now, that to me, I
Is
have already struck gold. I can't ask for anything more. Now, it is my responsibility as a human on this earth, I feel, to, if I can help other, and my purpose is to help other South Asian women. Why? Because I feel I connect with them more, and it's my community, and I want to. That's what I want to do, and that is why I do what I do, and that's why my work is not work. It's not work.
and
I don't look at it as
that's how it should be, because that's when you can
that.
really connect to what you're putting out there. And
Yeah.
this was so lovely, and I had such a great.
No, this really was.
Thank you so much for being here. And yeah,
Thank you for having me.
yeah, thank you so much. And I can't wait to put this out there and for everybody to, share this experience. And yeah, thank you
Yeah.
so much.